Hey guys, welcome back to Contest Prep University. I'm Joe Klemczewski with Adam Atkinson. We're going to talk about another myth, which is, does cooking protein change its biological value? And Adam, since the late 1990s, I have been involved in protein manufacturing. I've done a lot of collaborative research with especially one friend of mine who's a biochemist in the early days of creating pairings and different types of protein substrates based on their molecular weight. The whole thing about time-released digestion with protein powders, that was my work with him, all the way back in the mid to late 90s. And now everybody does that. It's just the norm. But I remember going through those days and having these discussions with people about the different ways that we categorize protein, the biological value. And then there's been 2 or 3 generations of ways to score that. But this was always kind of a stepping stone for people to say, well, if you cook a chicken breast or you do this, it kind of ruins all the protein anyway, and that's why the biological value is so low. Now, this is a topic you want to talk about, so you tell me your perspective. What do you find in the research about this?
Yeah, I found that there is no change. Now, there's obviously shrinkage in protein size, but this is why we typically weigh our meats raw before we, it's proper to weigh your meats raw versus cooked, because the meat is going to shrink to some degree. 6 ounces of chicken could turn into tentatively 4 ounces if you cook it long enough. So getting that initial raw weight is key, and making sure that you're consistent with your active measure more than anything.
So many jokes about shrinkage right now just going through my head.
I wondered if someone was going to comment on that.
I think you can see my smile, and you started to smile there. But anyway, I would say, first of all, I think a lot of food count databases are sophisticated enough where you can get a raw or a cooked weight on that, the macros. But you're right. I mean, the dehydration from cooking is an issue. But, back to the actual biological value. Again, you're right. I mean, this was just one of those myths, right? Like everybody believed that because somebody must have wrote an article about it 20 years ago. And so it just became part of our, repertoire of communication. And it's just not true. Actual research shows, absolutely no change in the nutrient value of food, even after it's cooked, baked, grilled, unless you just completely decimate the food product. If you just completely burn this thing or cook it for days, at a high temperature, then yes, extremely high temperatures can do that. But normal cooking practices just don't change the biological value of your protein sources. So you don't have to eat raw eggs, or drink them to get that. You don't have to eat raw beef. I had a client one time who would literally take ground beef and eat it raw because she thought, it's just better biologically. Like,
you're more than likely to throw it up and lose the value that way.
or just have a few parasites and die, who knows. But anything else to add to that, Adam? Anything that you've read?
No, nothing at all. I'm just worried about your client that's eating raw meat.
I'll have to check and see if she's still alive.
Fast metabolism or a parasite, you decide.
Yeah. But it's pretty cut and dry, guys. That's an easy one to discount. You do not have to listen to that myth. Throw it out, and you can even look that up. An easy one to do some reading on yourself. But anyway, stay tuned. Thanks for watching and listening, as always, in Contest Prep University, and we'll see you next time with another topic.